We are honored to welcome Touro Law Center's 2023 commencement speaker, the Honorable Gary R. Brown. Raised on Long Island, Judge Brown spent his undergraduate years at Columbia College and studied law at Yale Law School. After graduation, he returned to Long Island and has spent his entire legal career serving our community. Judge Brown began as a law clerk to the Honorable Jacob Mishler in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York, ultimately rising to become the chief of the Long Island Criminal Division. Judge Brown entered private practice working as chief counsel for CA Technologies until he was appointed as a magistrate judge for the Eastern District of New York, serving in its Long Island courthouse until 2019, when, following nomination by the President, the Senate confirmed his appointment to serve as a United States District Court judge. Judge Brown has devoted great time and energy to our Touro community. He first participated in Touro's collaborative court program in 2010, where he met with students in the federal courthouse, giving them guidance on the legal profession. Even after he was appointed to the bench, Judge Brown has continued to help our students on their journey to becoming lawyers, primarily through participating in our court observation program and serving as a judge for Touro's national moot court competition. In 2016, Touro had the honor of hosting the ceremony at which Judge Brown was awarded the first Honorable Jack B. Weinstein Mediation Settlement Award, recognizing his important work in handling litigation arising out of Hurricane Sandy. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Gary Brown to the podium this afternoon.
We're almost there, and I'll keep it short, but I have to start by explaining something. You'll note I'm not wearing a hat. I'm a judge. I wear a robe every day. I can wear a robe like a superhero, but the hats, I have no idea. So we were in the back. I'm going to give you a little sort of backstage tour, and I had a team. My mother is here with me, honest. My mom and the dean and the provost, and they're adjusting it, and they're fixing the tassel so it's on the right side and tying everything and tucking my hair. And then we come in here, and they're playing the national anthem, and I pluck the hat off my head, and I thought, oh no. I can't get this back on, so sorry. Anyway. Well, congratulations and good afternoon to the class of 23. It has been 35 years since I sat in one of those seats, waiting for my diploma, waiting for my JD. And let me tell you something, the 3.5 decades, it means I'm really old, right? It's been an adventure. And this afternoon, I'm going to give you a couple of tips, just a few tips to help you manage your career so that you will have a fulfilling career, and maybe, with a little luck, you'll find some adventure. But before I get on to managing a career, I want to give you a piece of life advice, and I'm going to be echoing the dean a little bit here. Don't give up the things you're passionate about. Don't give up the things you love, you care about. And this advice applies to everybody because it keeps you interesting and it helps you maintain work-life balance. As you go out there to start your career, you got to keep this in mind. I don't care what it is you love, whether it's cooking or television or movies, whatever it is, make time for the things that make you you. And that advice equally applies to judges. All of the judges, I'm going to tell you a secret now, they have secret lives. Some of my colleagues, they're talented artists and musicians. We have a professional banjo player, I swear, it's true. I won't tell you who it is, but it's true. Photographers, published writers, all poets, all kinds of things. And me, I do magic tricks. Been doing it since I'm 7 years old. I love it. It's the thing that just lights my fires, so I keep a little space for it in my life. And I'm going to share a little magic with you right now. I am not going to saw the dean in half, though she would agree to do it. She's a very good sport. I checked with her on this. This is more of an experience I'm going to share with you. Almost exactly 1 year ago today, I stood on a stage like this one in an amphitheater like this one, and I was on a clandestine mission. I was standing in front of Penn and Teller. Do you guys know them, the magicians? Yeah? They're playing here, actually, very soon. But I was on a stage in Las Vegas because I had qualified to get on their television show, Fool Us. I swear this is true. The inner 7-year-old was exploding. I got to do a trick on stage for Penn and Teller for their TV show. It was the most, thank you. And I don't say it to brag, well, maybe a little, but it was the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. And it actually aired a few weeks ago. If you want to see it later, look me up on YouTube. It's there. You can see it. So I didn't fool them, but it's okay. It was great. It was so much fun. But the point being, don't give up those things that do that for you. Whatever makes your heart feel like that, keep doing that, because it's an important part of where you go from here. But let's get on to your career. I have 5 tips. Someone in the back just said, oh, goodness, it's going to be a short speech. That's good. Yeah, only 5, right? We're going to go through 5 tips that will help you manage your career and find some adventure. So the first tip, keep learning. I know you're getting a diploma and you're walking out of school today, but it doesn't end today. You have to keep learning. You have to stay current on the law. The law changes all the time, and if you don't follow that, well, you're not a good lawyer, right? That's the easy part. But I mean learn about other things. Learn about business and finance and science and history. When you get a client, learn their business. Everything you learn, every question you ask will make you a better lawyer, because lawyers are learned people who give advice, so keep learning. Don't give up learning. And I'll give you an example. I was a prosecutor a few years ago. I was put in charge of the investigation of Dr. Michael Swango. This was big news at the time. You probably haven't heard of him, but he was America's most prolific serial killer. He was a doctor who poisoned his patients because he liked doing that. He was a horrible, horrible, dangerous man. He probably killed upwards of 60 people around the world. And the one thing I had to do during that investigation, and the whole team had to do, was to keep learning. Because here I was, this kid from Valley Stream who went to law school. I'm in autopsies. I'm working with forensic pathologists and toxicologists. We had teams of nurses and doctors, and we gathered evidence from literature, from old legal files, from medical files. We even did chemical experiments to help prove our case. And as a result of our willingness to keep learning, Dr. Swango will spend the rest of his life in solitary confinement in a federal prison, and he won't hurt anybody else. Thank you. But the big things don't happen to you unless you keep learning. You have to keep an open mind and just keep learning. So that's point 1. Point 2, be well prepared. Simple equation, just remember this. Well-prepared lawyers win. Those who don't prepare lose. There's just no way around it, and that means you have to work hard, really hard, particularly at the beginning, but pretty much all through your career, to prepare your case, to get ready, to do investigations. So you have to, everything, again, you study and learn will make you better. I will give you one other example from my prosecutor days. I was handed a case, a crime to solve, that seemed unsolvable. The police found the body of a man. He had been shot twice. He was laying dead in a parking lot in Mineola. There were no witnesses. It seemed like a random robbery gone bad, but it wasn't. And along with a team of investigators, we worked tirelessly for a year. And it turned out, rather than a random robbery, it was the planned assassination of a federal witness. The killers wanted to stop him from going to federal authorities. And in fact, the robbery was staged so they could steal his laptop, because on the laptop was the keys, was the details of a multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud scheme. and they killed him just to get his laptop away from him and stop him from going to the FBI. And after a year-long investigation, we went to trial, we proved our case, and after being sentenced to life in prison, the killer and his mother, both life in prison, the killer wanted to sit down with me. He said he had a question. So I said, okay. I met with him. And he said, I just got to ask, how did you know all that? How did you get everything right? We made this so complicated. We hid this scheme so well. How did you get it right? And the answer is simple. We worked hard, and we prepared our case. And that's what you need to do. So, brings us to point 3. This is an interesting one. Volunteer. And I mean that in 2 senses. One is to do pro bono work. You all know about that. It means you're doing good for people who need your help. And it's a requirement now, but you should really jump on those opportunities because pro bono cases will give you opportunities, legal opportunities that you'll never get anywhere else. And it will also give you the opportunity to use your legal skills to help other people. And there is no feeling that's as good as that. But I mean volunteer in a second sense. When you're in a work setting, wherever you're working, put your hand up when something new comes in, something different. Volunteer to take on challenging cases, challenging assignments, because again, everything you learn, every piece of experience you get will make you a better lawyer. Some years ago, you all remember, some of you were probably kids, but we had the Superstorm Sandy situation here, right? We had the Frankenstorm. It destroyed so many houses on Long Island. I was among 3 judges who volunteered to take on 2,000 cases that were filed in federal court. It was a nightmare to take on because we'd never been hit with anything like this, and we had to figure it out. Not only did we figure out how to move those cases, but while in my courtroom in front of me at a hearing, the details emerged of a fraud scheme that was being carried out by insurance companies and engineers against homeowners here on Long Island. And it made huge news, and it really turned everything on its head. And I got to tell you, I was really glad I volunteered for that because it was just an experience like none other. So raise your hand, volunteer, take on hard cases. Brings me to point 4. Learn to speak and learn to listen. And I don't care what area of the law you go into, as a lawyer, words and language and your ability to speak persuasively, that is your trade. That is your stock in trade. And the more you learn, the more you speak, the better you get at it, the more persuasive you'll be as a lawyer. And it doesn't have to be in court or in a legal setting. You can do anything. You could sing, teach, act, give lectures, do a commencement speech. Anytime you can get up and speak to people, it will help you develop your skills. And at the same time, and a lot of lawyers miss this half, learn listening skills, right? Learn to listen. You listen to your clients, you listen to your supervisors, you listen to judges, listen to your adversaries even. Because lawyers who listen identify problems and come up with solutions much, much faster than people who don't. So make sure you develop both ends of that. My last piece of advice, and this one I'm the most excited about because it comes directly to you through me from, and I'm not making this up, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Early in my career, when I was a brand new, what they call baby judge, she pulled me aside at a conference. She said, "You just became a judge. I want to talk to you." Okay? And she pulled a handful of us aside, and she said, "I have one piece of advice for you. Always move forward. Move on to the next thing." Justice Ginsburg went on to explain that while we can learn from mistakes, and you should learn from mistakes, she said, don't waste your time looking at projects that are no longer yours. Don't have misgivings or regrets or I should have done this. She said, that's a waste of energy. Go on to the next thing, she told me. And it was the best piece of advice I've gotten, and I share it with you, and I advise you to think about it. Keep moving forward in your career, and you'll never regret it. So, I'm going to finish up with the graduates in a moment. But first, I need to talk to the guests, the families, the friends, the colleagues, the partners, everyone else who's here today. First of all, thank you for coming. This is a milestone day. These folks are becoming lawyers today. It's a really big deal. Thank you for coming. Now, our collective job up here is to sing their praises, right? They're great, they do it, and it's true, it's all good, right? But I want to take a moment to acknowledge that you folks were there to support them. And a few of the students already speaking noted that, right? About the families and whatnot. You were there economically for some, you were there emotionally, and you gave up time, because law school is hard and expensive and emotionally wrenching, and it takes time. So you lost time with the people you care about. So I want to thank you for your sacrifice. And I want to remind the graduates, when the champagne stops flowing, right, make sure you turn around and you thank the people who helped you get here, because you know without them, it wouldn't happen, right? All right, so that brings me to the graduates today. You become lawyers. One more exam, you know what I'm talking about, right? For those of you who haven't taken it yet, one more exam, and a little luck, a lot of work, you'll become attorneys. Attorneys in our society are given great power and great responsibility. And so what I'd give you one last little homework assignment here is I want you to think about that. Think about, what do you want to use your power for? How are you going to use your skills? And when you figure that out, set that goal for yourself and go for it. With any luck, you'll find your adventure. Good. My name's Judge Gary Brown. Good luck to all of you.